Start with praise, Prabhuji.
Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Gurudev. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Ashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Uttama-sloke Bhaktir-bhavati Naistiki. Today we are reading 7th Canto, Chapter 13, The Behavior of Perfect Person, from text 35 to 46. Text 35. The bee and the python are two excellent spiritual masters who give us exemplary instructions regarding how to be satisfied by collecting only a little and how to stay in one place and not move. Text 36. From the bumblebee, I have learned to be unattached to accumulating money, for although money is as good as honey, anyone can kill its anyone can kill its owner and take it away. Text 37. I do not endeavor to get anything, but I am satisfied with whatever is achieved in its own way. If I do not get anything, I am patient and unagitated like a python and lie down in this way for many days. Text 38. Sometimes I eat a very small quantity and sometimes a great quantity. Sometimes the food is very palatable and sometimes it is stale. Sometimes prasada is offered with great respect and sometimes food is given neglectfully. Sometimes I eat during the day and sometimes at night. Thus I eat what is easily available. Text 39. To cover my body, I use whatever is available, whether it be linen, silk, cotton, bark, or deer skin, according to my destiny, and I am fully satisfied and unagitated. Text 40. Sometimes I lie on the surface of the earth, sometimes on leaves, grass, or stone, sometimes on a pile of ashes, or sometimes by the will of others in a palace on a first class bed with pillows. Text 41. Oh my God, oh my Lord, sometimes I bathe myself very nicely, smear sandalwood pulp all over my body, put on a flower garland, and dress in fine garments and ornaments. Then I travel like a king on the back of an elephant or on a chariot or horse. Sometimes, however, I have naked like a person haunted by a ghost. Text 42. Different people are of different mentalities. Therefore, it is not my business either to praise them or to blaspheme them. I only desire their welfare, hoping that they will agree to become one with the super soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Text 43. The mental concoction of discrimination between good and bad should be accepted as one unit and then invested in the mind, which should then be invested in the false ego. The false ego should be invested in the total material energy. This is the process of fighting false discrimination. Text 44. A learned, thoughtful person must realize that material existence is illusion. This is possible only by self realization. A self realized person who has actually seen the truth should retire from all material activities, being situated in self realization. Text 45. Prahlad Maharaja, you are certainly a self realized soul and a devotee of the Supreme Lord. You do not care for public opinion or so-called scriptures. For this reason, I have described to you without hesitation the history of my self-realization. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for reading the translation today. Am I audible, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. for confirming. Thank you, Vishwanath Prabhuji, for giving me an opportunity to speak today. Thank you, all devotees, to assemble today, and so that we can discuss for my own purification and for pleasure of all of the assembled devotee. Hare Krishna. Let me offer my prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manavishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Deshitarini Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hukum Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langa Yatkiri Yatkripatam Vande Shri Guru Dinitaranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So today we are gonna read uh, Canto 7, last section of the Canto 7, chapter 13, the behavior of a perfect person. And we are gonna start from the text 35 to text 46. So in this chapter, let's give a quick background. Like we have heard the qualities of the sannyasi, and then we see like how Prahlad Maharaj met with the Avaduta Brahmana and he inquires from him. And then in the last class, we have seen like how the conversation happened between the Prahlad Maharaj and the Avadut Brahmana. How Avadut Brahmana described the condition of this material world, like, how the sadness, goodness, success, failure, all these are temporary in nature, and how living being transmigrate from one body to another body due to the ignorance and the illusion, and because of the three modes of the material nature. And each body they act very differently, and even though they will take a body of a king or a demigod or an animal, but continuous struggle remain. And if we know, like and we heard like when Brahma created this material world, he created, first thing he created the five form of ignorance. He created the tamas, like ignorance. He created the moha, ego, mahamoha, like attachment. He created a tamshira, tamishra, which is envy, and then andatamishra, which is the fear of death. And even these ignorance, what Brahma created, even he was suffering. He suffered from that ignorance when he was, falling behind his own daughter. He wanted to enjoy his own daughter, and then he need to, when with the request of the sages, he need to cast his own mentality. So when Brahma can be impacted by this ignorance, then these all in species or human life, everyone is getting, all living beings are under this illusion of this ignorance. And in all species, when Avadhuta Brahmana is telling, this human form of life is providing a opportunity to elevate oneself, where we can go, based on our desire, we can go to heaven, we can go to the lower grade of life, or we can again take as a birth of a human life, or we can liberate ourselves, depend on our choice what we make. And what we understand from till now in this chapter, that material sense enjoyment is just an imagination, but spiritual happiness is a real happiness. So in this current section, now Avaduta Brahmana is telling the two spiritual masters uh, who are giving the important instruction to us. So first one is a B. So we'll cover the 35 to 37 verse together. So B and Python are two excellent spiritual masters who give us an important instruction. So B give us the renunciation, detachment, or vairakyam, we can say. And Python gave us the satisfaction, which we called it paritoshinam. So how they are giving, so for detachment, we have many example in our scripture, like Dadichi Muni, Bali Maharaj, and Vasudev Vipra. So we will discuss the story of Vasudev Vipra in the later today, because that will very much relate to this context. from Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Python is symbol like a satisfaction. And in our Shastra, if we look at Chaitanya Charita, pages of Chaitanya Charitamrita, we know Madhvacharya. I recently heard in the Chandan Yatra his story, and then how like satisfied he is. He never, and he is living like a Ajgar Vritti, his life. So let's understand like how the Rishi Muni, story of the Rishi Muni. The Rishi Muni, when Indra came for asking his body, like he because he Lord instructed him to make a thunderbolt from the bones of the Rishi Muni. So the Rishi Muni gave up his body with the request of the Indra and other demigods so that they can make a thunderbolt and kill Vritrasura. But let's understand why the Rishi gave up his body. And when it was asked to him, he answered, my body can be taken away anytime. So I don't want that when the end will come, I am not utilizing my body for a superior cause. So that is why he said, like, if someone give me an opportunity to offer my body for a higher cause, I am ready for it. I would like to grab this opportunity. Similarly, we have example of Bali Maharaj. Even though Shukracharya was telling him, his guru, that this Brahmana boy is none other than Vishnu. You should not give the three step of land. He will take everything from you. But even though he realized, Bali Maharaj realized that he is Vishnu, he said, I'm ready to give everything in the lotus feet of Vishnu. And because if he desire to take everything from me, I'm up for it. So if that kind of feeling develops in someone's heart, that means it's a complete surrender stage. There is nothing lose, and such person will not lose anything. He doesn't have any anxiety to lose anything, and also, in fact, there will not be any fear of death. So from the bumblebee story, we can understand that how bumblebee, collect the honey from different various flower and collect it and gather it into the comb, but eventually it is taken away by the force. So we can understand how this materialistic mentality in this material world, everyone want to collect money with many endeavor, with excessive endeavor. And because of that, they are not able to focus on their main mission of life, main goal of life. And they are always trying to do excessive hoarding and then cause fear, and that excessive money cause fear in their life because they will be harassed. Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, they will be harassed by the government in form of tax. Thieves, they will have a fear of thieves, that thieves may steal their money. They will have a fear of enemies, that they can kill them because of the money. So after accumulating money, what they receive? They receive the anxiety, because the anxiety will arise when the fruit of one's hard work will be taken away. But in the self-realized stage, in the Paramhamsa stage, or in the Vaishnava, a pure devotee stage, these worries will not bother the devotee, because he will be beyond because he transcended all these material stage of life. He is beyond the bodily platform. His consciousness is always focused on pleasing the senses of Krishna, to serve the Krishna. So that is the reason this Avadut Brahmana, learned Brahmana, decided he should not accumulate the money. He should only accumulate, he should only earn what is needed immediately. And there is no need of a big balance, because for future security. Otherwise, person will remain anxious about it. And what Python example teaches, that we need to remain patient. We need to have a patience is a key. We need to be contempt and accept of what comes naturally to us. So like, and remain unagitated. So it means if like we have seen the Madhvacharya story, if he was not getting the food, he was unagitated. He was focused on Krishna. He was relying on the Krishna's will. If Krishna desire, he will arrange a food for me. He should not be worried about, because it's Krishna's responsibility to arrange the food, because he is having a full of ecstasy in his heart, because he was able to serve Krishna. He was able to please the senses of Krishna, and he was full of love in his heart. So so he was not in, even the sannyasi goes door to door and back for a food. But in the Paramahansa stage, they live like a python. They do not worry about the food to beg. They know like Krishna will arrange the food for them. So because this Paramahansa stage is the highest stage of sannyas, and that is the reason like this Avaduta Brahmana was living a Ajgar Vritti, and he was not worried about his food also. Now, the text 38 to 41 talk about um, like his lifestyle of Avduta Brahmana. Text 38 describe about his eating habit. Text 39 describe about his dressing habit. Then text 40 describe about his sleeping habit, and then 41 about describe about his traveling habit. So let's see like 38 verse. So now in 38 verse 38 he's saying, sometime I eat very small quantity, sometime a great quantity, sometime the food what he receive is very palatable, sometime he it's stale. Sometimes he eat in day, sometimes he eat in night, sometimes the food offered to him with a great respect, sometimes he is given the food with a negligence. But I eat whatever is easily available. He is not worried because he is beyond the body. He is in the Mahabhagavata stage. He is beyond the bodily needs. He is beyond the bodily platform. He transcendented all these needs. That's why he's mentioning, I eat whatever is easily available. But in all the condition, if I will receive the food, if I don't receive the food, I am unagitated. I am fully satisfied, and my senses are always concerned to serve Krishna's senses. For Krishna's satisfaction, I always work, I always meditate for the pleasure of Krishna. I always try to serve Krishna. I do not worry about these material needs. Now let's discuss about text 39, his dressing habit. So now Avadut Brahmana is telling, to cover my body, I use whatever is easily available, whether it's linen, silk, cotton, or deer skin, or whatever I receive by my destiny. Or sometime I may remain naked also, but still my senses are unagitated to my bodily condition. I am fully satisfied. I'm not worried about what I'm wearing. I'm worried about if I'm able to serve, if I'm able to serve, if I'm able to justice in my service to Krishna. I'm able to serve. So that is what I'm more worried about. Text 40 talk about the sleeping habits, and text 41 talk about the travel habits. So now here in the sleeping habit, all the Brahmanas habits are described here. Even the sleeping habit and all other habits, what we learned so far, it describes the different births of a different type of birth, what a living being will take. So he's talking about all his births, like in previous ages also, what he might have taken a different body. So based on the type of body, Prabhupada is explaining, one lie down. For example, a animal will lie down on the ground, or if a rich person will lie down on a first class room with a huge palace, and then he will lie down in a decorated bed in a huge palace. And depend on the body what he has taken, based on that his habit will develop, and because of his consciousness he will get that body. And then such facility will come by the arrangement of the nature, which is the Maya Shakti, with the external energy of the Lord, not by the living entity. Living entity may desire how the birth will happen, how living entity will take a different body based on the activity what living entity will do in his entire life, and based on the desire of the living entity, he will get the next body. He may desire, but based on the sanction of the Maya Shakti or the Lord, Supreme Authority, he will be granted the next body. So all these things, but Avadhuta Brahmana is not worried about how he's lying down, how he's dressing, how he's sleeping. He's beyond this material conception of life. And Prabhupada explained in the text 40 purport that that all the living entities receive the different type of body based on the desire. Like he mentioned, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam, or the Bhagavad Gita verse, that all those bodies offer to the living being based on the nature, based on the desire, and then God grants it. That's what Prabhupada explained, referring to the Bhagavad Gita verse. Now let's talk about the text 41, the travel habits. Now the taking the different type of birth, where he received different body, according to the nature of body, he travel. Now Abduta Brahmana is saying, sometime he travel sometime he will wear the nicely dress, sometime he will decorate himself with a sandalwood pulp, fine garment, and then sometime he will remain naked, sometime he will travel in the chariot of horses, sometime he will travel with the chariot in the elephant, and sometime he will travel naked based on the maybe he is a hunter in that life. So when so I would like to highlight here. So when Prabhupada met his Guru Maharaj first time in the early 90s, his Guru Maharaj instructed him to preach the Krishna consciousness in West. During that time, India was slave of the British government, and India was fighting for independence. And Prabhupada, when he received this instruction, Prabhupada was confused in his mind. Who will listen us? Who will like to learn from us about the Krishna conscious movement? Because at that time, the dignity of the country, dignity of our nation was not there in the outside world. Nobody was, because we were slave at that time. So he inquired to Guru Maharaj submissively, who will listen to us? If you are requesting me, you are asking me to instruct the Krishna consciousness, spread the Krishna consciousness movement in the West, who will listen us? Then Guru Maharaj replied, this material state of life is subject to change. It's very temporary. All temporary nature. It's all temporary nature, and it is subjected to change. Today we are slave. Tomorrow we will not be slave. Tomorrow we will be independent. So you don't worry about that. You will go and spread the Krishna consciousness movement. So that what tells the Prabhupada realize that this material condition state is temporary. So we need not to be bothered about what is the current state. It may change. Today maybe we are poor. Tomorrow we may be, maybe rich. Today we are maybe some bodily disease today. Tomorrow we will be cured. So if we will be remain attached to the bodily platform, if we will remain attached our bodily condition, then we cannot focus. We will be, deviated from our original goal of life, which is spreading the Krishna consciousness movement, serve the senses of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let's go to the text 42. Text 42 was quite a difficult verse for me to understand at first. So I'll try to with my best ability. So avoid false discrimination. It talks about avoid false discrimination and being a well-wisher. So because Avadhuta Brahmana was at a Paramhansa stage, he was fully realized in the Krishna consciousness. He understand that soul eternal relationship with the Krishna. And he do not bother with the temporary material identification. He knows this all material elevation or degradation, heaven, hell, success, failure is part of life and is part of the cycle of birth and death in the different yoni, because it's part of the samsara chakra, which is, even though we will become a demigod, we will suffer. We cannot stay away from the suffering. We will suffer. So rather than we should judge the people based on their temporary material condition, Paramhansa only desire their welfare, because they want, how can I get an opportunity to connect this soul to their Supreme Father? Because in this material world, all the soul are part and parcel, all are part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Paramhamsa, a Vaishnava, a pure devotee, always think, how can I give the Krishna's prem to him? How can I connect him, this ignorant soul, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead? That is the whole motive of this Krishna consciousness mission. How can I make him a path so that he can return back home, back to Godhead? How can I make him freedom from this material bondage? So Paramhamsa devotee looking for a highest welfare, which is Krishna consciousness. And he wants everyone, regardless, he wants to give everyone this Krishna consciousness, regardless of their current state, material state of life. So in summary, if we'll understand this verse, that a pure Vaishnava, and Prabhupada mentioned a pure Vaishnava, true goal is to transcend the material dualities and take shelter of the Krishna consciousness, to take shelter to the lotus feet of Krishna. And then in summary, knowledge of Vedas, if you look, all the Vedas is telling Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedescha sarve aham eva vedyasa. And Krishna also tell in Bhagavad Gita, sarva dharmam parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. abandon all the religions and just surrender unto me. So the sum and substance, summary of all Vedas to surrender to Krishna, and that is the ultimate desire of the Avadhuta Brahmana. So that is why he is not bothered for the material condition of life, the material dualities of the life. Text 43 and 44 talk about how to fight with the false discrimination and self-realization. So we need to understand it's our mind who creates the false discrimination, and because of that false discrimination, we what is good, bad, success, failure, it's all material illusion. And this is the reason all these illusions are attaching us to the bodily platform, bodily concept of life. And these distinctions are nothing but a mental concoction if we look. And because of this mental concoction, uh, it's not rooted in our heart. These are not uh, attributes of our soul. This is all separate from the God, because these are the lower energies. These are coming because of our false ego. These are the reinforcement of our ego. Therefore, such discrimination, all this discrimination, bad, good, success, failure, rich, poor, correct? We should give up. We should offer up. And step by step, we need to offer up this to the back to the source of illusion. This is how a yogi become free from the material condition of life, material affection. These are the step by step process how yogi come out of this illusion, material illusion. And eventually when it goes to the prakriti, so what we said, heard, mental mind creates the illusion, and then when we that illusion, yogi will surrender to the ego, and then eventually that ego will be offered up to the source of illusion, which is nothing but a prakriti, and then eventually it will go back to the supreme energetic. So this is how the step by step process jnanis, hati yogis follow, that the discrimination between the good and bad, and how that discrimination is come out of their mind, and then how the mind information merge to the false ego, and then how false ego merge into the total material energy, and then material energy then goes back to the supreme energetic Krishna. But Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, but how about Bhakti Yogi, the topmost yogi? He do not bother about this process. What he thinks, he always try to serve the Krishna in his heart. He is always in the spiritual platform. He always transcendent is these transcendental these material modes. He transcendent this material mode, and he never fall down because his position is secured by Krishna, because Krishna protect his devotee. And then he realized the absolute truth, and then he ready back home, back to Godhead. He was never illusion in this material world. Text 44 talk about how a learned, let me go to the verse. So how a learned, a thoughtful person must realize that material existence is an illusion. This is possible only by the self-realization. A self-realized person who has actually seen the truth, like our Guru Maharaj, all the pure Vaishnava, should retire. They already retired from the material activity. And if we follow their path, follow their instruction, we will eventually get self-realized. And at that stage, we should retire from the material activity. And we should being situated in the pure Krishna consciousness. So in the purport, Prabhupada has mentioned, one can know the difference between the soul and body by analytical study, but it can only be realized by a person who is thoughtful in nature, who is Muni. But once he understand the spirit soul, and then he realize the super soul. And Prabhupada has given, and that is the process of that is the beginning of self-realization. Prabhupada has given the example of two birds in the branch of a tree. And we have heard this. One world is a forgetful bird who is an individual soul, who is engrossed in this material world, and who is always looking for the enjoyment. And the another bird who is witnessing, who is a guiding friend of the individual soul, a forgetful bird, who is a super soul. So witnessing bird is so merciful that he always accompanied the forgetful bird in all the yoni, even in the in the yoni of a mosquito or in the yoni of a king or in the yoni of the demigod. So that super soul will never leave that other bird will never leave the forgetful bird. He always try to guide, constant guidance. He'll provide a constant guidance. So when the forgetful bird come to the understanding that my supreme friend is none other than my Paramatma, which is within myself, then he will accept the guidance. He will accept the guidance even all in all different bodies, and he take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Krishna, the supreme bird, and that is the beginning. Prabhupada mentioned that is the beginning of the Krishna consciousness. So let's as I mentioned, I will talk about the Vasudeva Vipra story, which is very enlightening to me at least. So I would like to narrate in 2 minutes, next 2 minutes. Vasudeva, poor Brahmana, that's a very it's a true devotee, pure devotee, and this personality is given in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Vasudeva was a poor Brahmana who lived in the South India, and his body was full of wounds because he had leprosy, and his body was smelling too much, like because his body has too many sores from toe to head and full of pain, and then lot of pus and blood always come out from his body, and maggots lives in his wounds, and lot of maggots, like 100,000 of maggots, and eating his body. But Vasudeva never complained about his bodily disease or bodily issues, suffering. He was always thinking of Krishna, always chanting his holy name. Even when a maggot fell from his wound, what he does, Vasudeva would gently pick up that and place it back in his body, because he did not hate maggots, because he understands this maggot is also a part and parcel of Krishna. He thought, his realization was that they are also a God creation. Let, if I am not able to enjoy my body, I'm not able to serve Krishna through this body, at least this maggot is able to eat my body, and at least he is having an enjoyment. Let him eat. Let him satisfy his hunger. So that is the mood of the Vasudev Vipra. His family rejected him. His society rejected him. Whole village rejected him. Most people stay far away from Vasudeva because his whole body was full of disease, leprosy, suffering, blood and pus. They thought he was dirty, sick. But Vasudeva did not care whether the family is rejecting him, whether his whole society is rejecting him. But because his heart is full of ecstasy, full of love for Krishna, that was all matter to him. One day, he heard the exciting news that Mahaprabhu, a golden form of Krishna, is coming near to his village, to the house of a devotee named called Kurma. He was filled with joy. He was jumping in and out. He was very excited to meet Mahaprabhu, to serve him, so that he can get the mercy of Mahaprabhu. He can get the association of Mahaprabhu. Hearing this, he traveled to the house of devotee named Kurma. And then when he reached the Kurma's devotee house, Mahaprabhu already left. And by hearing that news that he could not meet Mahaprabhu, Vasudeva fell to the ground. He fainted. He was so sad. He was feeling so dejected. All he wanted one chance to serve the Mahaprabhu, and he was not getting that opportunity. And because of his intense desire, even though Mahaprabhu walked so far down from that village, because of the love and longing of that Vasudeva Vipra, Mahaprabhu turned around, came back just to meet his pure devotee. When Mahaprabhu saw Vasudeva Vipra, he ran to him, he hugged him tightly, without any fear that he had a leprosy or he has a bond. Because Lord do not see the external covering of the devotee. Lord see the pure heart, the feeling of pure devotion in the heart of a devotee. That is what Lord mentioned, what desire. In the Bhagavad Gita we mentioned, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Lord do not want anything from a opulent food, opulent offering from a devotee. What Lord desire? A mood from the devotee, a mood of a devotee. So now, as Lord touched him, a miracle happened. Vasudeva disease disappeared. His body became healthy, clean, and as a beautiful young prince, like a demigod body. But at that time, Vasudeva felt very dejected. He was sorrowful. He was not proud. He was worried. He was anxious that now the pride may hit him. Now, because he is looking so young, he is looking so youth, he become proud. And with the tinge of proud, if he will try to serve the Lord, Lord may not accept his services. And he inquired Mahaprabhu, why you cured my disease? Why you cured my disease? I was fully satisfied in service because because I was not worried about my body. Now you gave me an opportunity that I may feel proud. You open a door of Maya. How will I secure myself from this Maya, from this proud, from this pride, feeling of pride? The Mahaprabhu smiled and said, don't worry. If you keep chanting my name, if you keep spreading my name to all the people in village, then you will not affected by this. Never become proud. You will never affected by my Maya Shakti. You will always stay close to me. And from then on, Vasudev Vipra, spread the Krishna consciousness to all the villagers. And then he stayed his life. He stayed in the village happily, without affected by the pride. So what we understand from this story is that Vasudeva Vipra was beyond the material condition of life. And what we understand, God never looked our material condition. God look our love in our heart. So text 45 and 46 now was Brahmana is saying, the Avadut Brahmana is saying, Prahlad Maharaj, you are certainly a self-realized soul and a pure devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You do not care about a public opinion. Prabhupada explained how Prahlad Maharaj rejected the demonic mentality of his father, his teacher, and all his kingdom, and he followed the true devotion given by his spiritual master Narad Muni. So for this reason, Avadut Brahmana is telling, because you are a pure devotee of Supreme Personality of Godhead, I have described to you my self-realization, a history of my self-realization without hesitation. And then Prabhupada mentioned that true intelligent devotee, Sumedha, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, chapter 5 and verse 32, declares that true intelligent person like Sumedha people, they always spend time in the congregational chanting of the holy name. And they do not waste any time in the material affairs because they transcend themselves from the material platform. Because devotees' main duty is to follow the instruction of his spiritual master and perform the devotional service to Krishna. They are unconcerned about the public opinion, social norms, and even the rigid interpretations of the Veda. They are only concerned about the instruction of their spiritual master to serve the lotus feet of the personality of the Godhead. So we should follow the Kali Yuga. How we can do that? We can do the congregational chanting of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. That is the essence of the devotional life in this age of Kali Yuga. I would pause here. I'm sorry for that I took 8 minute extra. My apology. And I would pause here. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.